Greetings, Cosmo here. It is December 1st and the end of Movember, so today we will be removing this ridiculous looking thing on my upper lip there. As a reminder, Movember is to bring awareness for men's health. So guys, don't forget to get those regularly scheduled checkups and remind those other guys in your life to do the same as well. So for today's shave, we are going to be using Mountain Man by Sterling, the Magic Razor by Master Barber, sometimes by Spiro. This thing is like $10 at Sally Beauty or $2 on AliExpress, free shipping. And then we're also going to be using this brush by Noble Otter with a Declaration Grooming B7 28 millimeter. This was a prize from Manadyne this was my Lather Games award, if you will. So I am on shave number 18 on this sample, so it's just about finished up. I've been going through all month, not all month, but well, for 18 days or so, to see just how many shaves I can get off of a Sterling sample. So 1 ounce sample, it's gonna last me, looks like 19 shaves, because I'll leave enough in there for one more. So I tend to load about that much on there. People say an almond size, but it's about 2 grams, probably a little bit more than 2 grams. And I use a loading bowl. This is actually a coconut shell. This is from a tourist trap shop in Saigon at Bentham Market in Vietnam. But you can actually get these off of AliExpress for like $3, I think, with free shipping as well. I like that little mosaic in there because it has just a little bit of texture to it to help aerate the lather a little bit, but it's not sharp and it won't jack up the ends of or the tips of your brush. So I spread that around pretty thinly on the bottom there so I can pick it up quickly. Just get that brush wet a little bit. So spread around in there nice and thin, and then we can wring out the brush. Now, I'll talk about my lathering technique in a different video, but I start with a pretty dry brush. You can hear the water coming out of it, and I like to add the water nice and slowly, so I just load that up until it gets a little bit tacky, and then just dip the tips. I got a bowl of water in the sink there, and we'll just slowly start to pick that up. I've found that just slowly adding the water like this helps to get that nice, shiny, fatty looking lather going. Right now I'm not applying any pressure, just loading. So that this is the amount of pressure is very, very little, and this is what I use for loading the brush and for incorporating more water into the lather. And then once I want it to start actually lathering, then I'll apply just a little bit of pressure and get it to splay out and lather up. So you can see I've picked up all that soap. Now the brush is pretty wet. Now I dunked it in there pretty good. And then I'm going to apply just a tiny bit of pressure. And you can hear that now is starting to build that lather. See that knot is starting to splay out a little bit there. I'm not pressing down ridiculous on there. And so I like to just incorporate that lather down in there, and then it's pretty pasty and sticky, so it needs a lot more water at this point, but I still add it relatively slowly, incorporate that new water into that lather, and then start lathering it up again. This might take a little bit longer than some people might like. Impatient. I like to take my time with it a little bit. There was a question asked, the guy's username spaces me, on I think Wicked Edge on Reddit, and he said how long or how many shaves can you get off of a sterling sample, and I had never counted. I've only actually finished one other sterling sample. I finished Hipster, but I didn't really count how many shaves I got off of it, but I assumed I could get 20 or 30 is what I said, and it looks closer to 20, but I tend to use a lot of soap per shave, and the reason I do that is because I get better lather that way. So a good 2 grams, so you do the math on 1 ounce of soap, and I think, what is that, like 16 or 17 shaves or something like that. So here I am sitting at shave number 18, and I'll get 19 out of this one. So you can see that's starting to get pretty thick and shiny there. Still too thick though. One thing you don't want for sure is for there to be any matte left on there. You want that lather to be glossy. Let's see if you can see it at all there, but I'm gonna make a separate video that shows how I actually go about doing that. But you can see that's starting to get pretty glossy on there, but still needs a ton more water. And I'm just dipping the tips of the brush in there each time. I don't have a lot of room in my bathroom here, so I can't really, nobody wants a vertical video, you know? So I just incorporate the new water and then start lathering it. Now as it starts to get so that the peaks start to fold over like that, you can start to see some tiny little bubbles in there, and that's usually when I will take it to the face and start my face lather. So I do a little bit of a hybrid. I load up and partially lather it in the bowl, and then I finish the lather on my face. I don't want to be incorporating water that much and just irritate my skin. So I'm gonna get my face right there and start painting that on there. So when I start to get those bubbles built up in there, then I go back and forth with that painting, and that tends to knock those bubbles down. I forgot I'm shaving the mustache. That was kind of fell out of my routine. This is a good sign. That means your lather's starting to get a little bit soft, but still needs more water, so we're gonna add more. And get all of this, because that needs to get hydrated as well, this stuff on the side. So I just twist it off of there and then start to work that water in. And you can see still a little bit of a matte finish to it, so not hydrated enough. I'm gonna put some more water in there. You really want it to be shiny and sort of gooping off of things. You can see it's running down there. If you watch right here, see this is wanting to fall, but that should fall. That's still not hydrated enough there. More water. and it's gonna get a little messy. So, want a good lather? It's gonna make a little bit of a mess. This is the way that I do it. So now it's starting to really goop off of there. It's looking pretty good now. See how that's falling down? And you can see the shine there, and the brush doesn't remove the lather. Just kind of smears it a little bit. It's looking pretty hydrated, pretty slick, pretty goopy, pretty shiny. There's a shine on there. I don't need an 1.5 inches worth of lather coming off of there. I don't understand what, I don't even know what people mean by cushion, actually. I don't know what you're slapping yourself with a razor or something, but it's all about slickness for me. I've never understood what cushion is, and I've been too afraid to ask. So that looks pretty slick there. And you see it's just really, see that tip just falls off of there. So let's go ahead and try that out and see. That looks pretty good. Let me rinse my hands off here. All right, so clean up my mess. Now, I've got a feather blade loaded in the magic razor there. So a little bit of a sharper side. You want dry hands for that. So with the shavette, you really want to get some good skin stretching going on. Now you see that? That's what you want with the lather there. That is just kind of gets heavy enough and it just goops right off. And just like that, the mustache is disappearing. I'm eating part of it. That's pretty gross. Now watch that. That's a good, well-hydrated lather there. Feathers are sharp, man, that thing. Almost bit me there. Now if you're taking forever on this side can actually dry out. So you want to make sure that that's still properly hydrated. It still looks pretty shiny. It's a little bit dried out, but we'll go ahead and keep going here. Have to puff out the cheek. The cheeks are easy, right? This is where you learn, and then this part is the challenging part that takes some practice. Don't watch that lather. I'm just ready to goop off of there. It'll go. If it's pasty and just stuck to the thing and not falling off, it's not nearly as hydrated as it needs to be. We'll get that. I did bite myself just a little bit there. The blade's not very forgiving, but it sure cut some stuff off there. And this is dried out a little bit down here. Be careful. Doesn't take long for that leather to sort of thicken up on you. It's not anything particular about the quality of the soap. It's just, that's how it works. As you can see, I'm not particularly hairy down here or in this area. Most of my hair is around these areas here, the hard parts. Shaving this, and this is pretty easy anyway. Got a little nick right there, but that's all right. All right, I'm gonna rinse my face and put on pass number 2. So yeah, that feather is sharp. Look at that. That's one pass from a month worth of growth, and that is smooth. And a little bit there, but man, that is smooth. So get all that soap off the sides there. Now, if you wanted, for the second pass, still got that much more lather in there from the initial loading. So if I wanted to thicken that up a little bit, but it's gonna take a little bit more water. So we'll dump that a little deep there. So we'll hydrate that one more time. Look how slick that's going to be there. Most people, when using straight razors, don't like a big, thick lather on there anyway, but thin and slick, especially for the second passes and third passes, where you start getting a little more aggressive. Alright, so you want to have dry hands with the shavette, even though it is magic. They call it the magic razor because it's got magic written right on the side of it there. Alright, so again, what people will say, you show straight off of there, right? But I start to curve up just a little bit on there. So pretty slick. And then you want to stretch the skin. If that starts getting, it's really got a lot of residual slickness there, and if it's hard to stretch, you can either wipe that residual soap off, or you're going to run your face. So I was just interrupted by a phone call there, so I just wiped that off a little bit so that I can stretch the skin. And same thing up here, you can It's always more difficult with the left hand. Takes some getting used to. Let's see, that's actually a little bit dry there, and I can feel that it's a little bit dry because I incorporated some more of that lather from the bowl in there. Now, I'm not going to be brave. I'm going to add a little bit more water, a little bit more lather. Very slick here, hard to stretch. And I found that there is no sort of stretching or anything that I can do to make the end of my chin stand still. So you just gotta kind of just be careful and work my way around there. Feels pretty good. We'll hit it one more time. Don't get lather in your eyes. So that third pass is typically going to be pretty thin, but very slick. You're going to start going up against the grain like that. So I just took everything off right there. That's smooth now. Going. Really hard to stretch. Look at that. There's so much residual slickness there that we can't even really grab the skin. So you need to wipe that off or put some alum on your fingertips so you can. And that's why I got myself there, because I was in a rush and that was so slippery there. But that's a good sign. That's that residual slickness that everybody talks about. So got myself on my mole right there and right there. You shouldn't talk and make videos while you're shaving apparently, but that will stop. Yeah, still super slick there though. And just clean that up. Knock it off there. All right, we're gonna rinse this off. most I've cut myself in a long time, but it's my first shaving video, so just to show you that you do still cut yourself, especially with feathers. Now, for some aftershave, now, what do I feel like using today? I just got a sample of Nordst in Barrister and Mann's new smoky orange. It's a Maggard's sample. These little Maggard samples are great. So the way that I do my aftershave, if I'm doing balm with it, I'll put a couple of hits of balm in there, and then mix it together. But I just like my face just a little bit damp, not dripping, and then go nuts. Why not? It's mine. Yeah, I got a little feedback there, but it's pretty good. Go up. Always go from the outsides towards the middle. Don't go from the middle out. Don't help gravity make you older faster than you need to be. And that little nick will stop. It doesn't need any styptic or anything like that. So that's it. That is shave number 18 in the books on a sterling sample of Mountain Man. I got one more shave left in there, so it'll be 19 shaves on that. And that'll do it. So Movember's over. Back to my good, clean shaven upper lip self. See you next time.